Make sure that your shoulders are directly under your palms. If they're too far forward or too far back, you'll feel it on your wrists even more. We'll start with a cat-cow. So exhale in the cat, moving the spine to the ceiling. Inhale with the cow. So you might feel stiff at first, just work with it as your body gets used to you doing this movement. Last thing to move should be the neck. First thing, the pelvis. We'll do one more. Good, then child's pose. So either the variation can be knees together, feet together, then down, or if you want a wider stretch, if that feels more comfortable, you want to open up the hips, go a bit wider. So now hold this position. You can mobilize the wrists, wrist circles if that feels good. Forehead to the mat. Just relax and sink in. And back up to cat-cow. Let's do another 5. Nice safe one, this. Go into your own range of movements. Being aware of any stiffness or tightness in certain areas. Maybe one side more than the other. Good, and back into child's pose. Maybe if you did the other variation this time, you might want to swap it over. And just circle those wrists. From here, we're going to go to the prone position and work the muscles next to the spine so we can get into a nice, safe, deep stretch later. So prone position, dorsal raises, so just touching your ears, coming up and slowly down. So pause at the top and all the way down. You feel free to bring your feet into this as well. If that feels good, you're going to load the back more, making it harder. This works well with high reps, or as many as you can if you're a beginner. Just want you to start to feel a burning sensation, usually at the base of your back. But if you've got weaknesses in the upper back, you'll feel it as well. If you're driving them elbows to the behind you, you're going to open up that posture, which is good for parent posture and any fatigue during the day. Inhale coming up, exhale with control coming down. Another 10 if you can. If you need to break and split it up, 5 and 5, that's absolutely fine. This is you versus you. Another 3. Excellent. From here, take your time coming up back into child's pose for a nice stretch it out. You can really feel the warmth. You want to wiggle your hips side to side just to get in a little bit further into that stretch, and if it feels good, feel free. Good. Back into the prone position. So we're looking for the same amount as you did on the first time, or if you want to make it a little bit harder and challenge yourself, arms behind you, so you're loading the spine, lower back more, and pushing up and down as you come up. So this is working your neck as well at the back, strengthening. So as many as you can with that burn. Rest as much as you need to. Shouldn't be painful. Another 5. 2. Last one. Oh, good. Carefully come up back into child's pose. Stretch it out. Feel free to grab a drink. And we're going to move on to our sides, to at the sides of the stomach. The obliques, internal and external. There's a branch in here. So make sure you're all in one line. If you want to make it harder and you've got the core strength, feel free to use your legs. However, if you want more reps for endurance, fitness, bend your legs. Push them hips out. Good hip flexor stretch. Elbows should be directly under the shoulder, rib cage in, belly button to spine. Have a poke around, make sure you've got tension. So this might feel like a nice stretch already. Coming all the way up, as far up as you can, slowly down. I want to see like a crunch, like a curve in the side. So if you've not done these before, these are hard anyway. So 6 would be great. If you can do 10, 12, 15, just rest as much as you need to. But I want you to make sure you're crunching and placing the tension in the sides of your stomach, because the bum cheek can overtake this exercise if you are weak in the core. So just be mindful of that. So like with the other movements, you start to feel a burning sensation in the sides of the stomach. I think that's about 5 or 6. Feels like 20. Exhale, coming down. As many as you can. Get another 5 if you can. 4, stop and start as much as you need to. 3. You might feel this on your shoulder as well, because we are working on shoulder strength and stability. 1 more. Good. And if the last one, we can pause for 10, 9, shoulder burning, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bottom leg comes forward, top leg back. I'm going to stretch that out. So now it's nice and warm. The QL, the deep back muscle, that can cause a lot of back pain. It's nice and safe to stretch out. So shoulders down away from ears, chest proud. Hold and breathe. Try and let go of any tension. Maybe tense up around the shoulders. Stress reactions. Actively switch these off. Try and reach over a little bit further if you can for those last 2 seconds. Sit bones should be on the mat. Okay. I'm going to swap over to the other side now. So however many reps you got the first time, I'm going to match it. So elbow directly under the shoulder, knees bent, hips pushed forward. Let's begin when you're ready. So again, make sure you're placing the tension in the sides of the core. And then we'll hold for that last one. 6, excellent. 8, coming down with control. Another 5 if you can. 2, last one. And let's hold 10, 9, deep breaths. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Bottom leg comes forward, top back, stretch. Sit bones on the mat, knees down on the mat if you can. Shoulders down away from ears and relaxed. Hold, hold, hold. Push over a little bit further if you can. Excellent. Feel free to grab a drink. I'm going to move over to the other side. We'll do another round of that. If you're up for the task, feel free to go straight-legged and just reduce the reps. Build more muscle in the sides of the stomach, more tone. Or we can try and drop 2 or 3 reps from the first round. So all the way up and down. Enjoy the stretch as the hips touch the floor. Good. 7. Another 2 if you can. Now let's hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. I hope that was my weaker side. Bring that forward. Stretch it out. Let's try and go a little bit deeper than we did before. Inhale and exhale. Shoulders down. Chest proud. Sit bones in the mat. Good, let's finish on the other side. So I need to match them reps. It was 12 for me. Begin when you're ready, elbow directly under your shoulder. Ten. Last 2. Last 1. Okay, last hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Bottom knee forward. Well done, those are tough. Stretch it out. Try and go a little bit further over if you can, if it feels good. Good. Semi-supine next. Let's begin the core work. So let's talk about core connection first. This way. Okay, and we'll do Pilates breath work throughout the core. So then if you don't want to practice the yogic pranayama breath work, after you can always switch to the Pilates. So inhale through the nose as arms rise. Pause with full lungs, breath retention. Exhale for 4. Again. So Pilates breath work, you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Inhale, relax your pelvic floor and your abs. You can push your abs out. Hold, and on the exhale, you draw in your pelvic floor and abs, so it can become a core exercise as well. Inhale, relax the pelvic floor like you're on the toilet passing. Exhale, holding everything in like you don't want to pass. Over exaggerate that pelvic floor work. That's how you train it to become stronger. flooding the brain full of endorphins, oxygen, and we're in the present. Excellent. So legs are going to come up into tabletop. Try lifting them hips, or think about lifting the hips up off the floor. Just engage that lower core to make sure there's tension. Back fully imprints into the mat. Hold this position, rib cage in, belly button into spine, and head rest down. So it's a bit like a plank, it's isometric. It's going to hold, hold, hold. Try and get your legs as straight as possible. You might be able to get them really straight and then relax. Then really straight until you build that strength. Another 10 seconds, hold, you're doing great. Shoulders down away from ears, relax. Where's it burning? Because that's a sign it's strengthening and toning those areas. If you get your protein, recommend at least 100 grams of protein a day. From here, I'm going to bring one knee into the chest or as far as it goes, and the other leg comes down. I'm going to come down as we swap over, and then up again into the knee. Down. Single leg stretch, this is called. Sorry, scissors. Nice and controlled. Slower you come down, the harder it is, and the more muscle and strength you build. You might feel it in your hamstring as well if you're working on flexibility. If you're pulling in, you might feel it in your glute if you're tight. Pilates is all about education on your own body, on where's tight, so we can be preventative and stopping any injuries or manage injuries and help them recover. Another 3, 2, 1 more. Excellent. Counter pose, knees in for a hug and roll side to side. You can keep your tailbone on the mat. If you want in a lower back stretch, you can bring that tailbone off. From here, one leg stays in tabletop, other one's extended. Imprint in the mat. Move them hips forward. From here, single leg raises. Looking for 10. So you're loading the lower core. So you might feel it in the top of the thigh, the hip flexors, which is normal because for a strong core, you need strong hip flexors. But if you can't move all the way down without your spine lifting, because we don't want your spine to lift off the floor, just don't come all the way down. Another 3, 2, 1. Good. Hug it in for a hug and roll. Same again, but on the other side. So other leg in tabletop, right, the other extends. Shouldn't be any clickings in your hip. Can be a sign of core breakdown, connection loss. Just don't come all the way down. Let it burn, stop and start as much as you need to until you build this strength and endurance. It's good to fail as part of the process. We need to fail in order for our bodies to get stronger, because if you just completed everything, nothing's going to change. It needs to be challenging, you need to struggle. Oh, good, hug and roll. We'll do some breath work. Back into semi-supine, inhale, arms rise. Relaxing the abs and pelvic floor, pushing out. Exhale, drawing in the pelvic floor and abs. It's the opposite of what you would think. Inhale, relax. Pause, breath retention for 2 breaths if you can. Exhale for 4. Make sure you're using the diaphragm, the ribs are moving on the inhale. Good. Similar to the scissors of the first time. So one leg comes out and the other, you've got a bend in the knee, which is a nice stretch for your glute and a little bit on your back. You're going to hug your knee and then you're coming down as you're swapping and coming back up. As many as you can, or 15. The slower it is, the better. 6. 14, one more, 15. Good. Let's do the breath work. Inhale. Another 2. Good. Last core exercise before we move on to some deep stretch work. Now we're nice and warm. Legs up into tabletop, ribcage in, belly button to spine. Bring them hips up just to make sure that core connection is there. We're going to bring in a crunch. So as you're crunching up to your knees, or as high up as you can, your knees are pulsing in ever so slightly and slightly out as you come down. As many as you can, or 15. These are a burner. And it's really warm in here, but it's not, I think it's that light. Try and lead with the chest and not the neck. So you're not pulling on your neck at all. Is a neck strengthening exercise. Let it burn. Where's it burning? 8. Really crunch at the top. Pause for a second before you release it. It's like stomach ache. Last 5, 4, 3, 2. One more. Oh, well done. Burn, burn. But it's worse when you relax after that. It really burns. Inhale, arms rise. Let's start to relax the sympathetic nervous systems now for your bedtime, for your fight, flight, and freeze responses. Okay, knees are going to come together and slowly you're just going to bring them down to the side. Okay, not going to move your arms at all. Try and stack them on top of each other. Just going to hold that for a few seconds and see how that feels. Just wait for your body to get used to it. Deep breaths. If that feels okay, go ahead and grab that top leg and just rest your arm, and that should add a bit more tension. And try and make your hips stacked on the floor. And try and sink and melt into the floor. And you can go ahead and bring your other arm out to the side. See if your whole arm can touch the floor. We're not forcing anything. Just relax. Any muscles that are tensed up, try and actively switch them off and just release them. Just feel that stretch in maybe your glute and your back. Keep trying to let go of the tension. Make sure you're using your belly and your ribs as you inhale. Fill the lungs, which will increase the stretch a little bit. Notice how your body starts to let go and get used to that stretch. You could hold this for 7 minutes if you wanted. Just careful coming out of it. A few more seconds. To come out of it, just take your hand off that top leg and start to move your legs over to the other side. It's nice and slowly because you can feel quite stiff coming out of this. I'm going to move over to the other side. So we're just going to start by stacking the knees on top of each other. Inhale, exhale. If that feels all right, go ahead and put that arm on top of the leg. And you can relax that leg. Treat every side different. So you might not be able to get as deep with this side yet. And go ahead and bring the arm closest to the floor out a little bit to increase that stretch. You might feel it along your ribs. So I'm going to hold that position and keep trying to relax further and further into that stretch. Notice how it feels and where you feel stretched. I know it's a good stretch. We don't do much of this movement in everyday life. This is often where we pull muscles. We're lifting a bag or putting a kid in the car, or it's always them awkward lifts. Fill the lungs. A few more seconds. Excellent. I'm going to come back into the supine position. So legs flat. So take your time coming out of that. And have a big stretch, arms above head. Just like you've just got out of bed, stretching the arms and legs away from the midline. So notice where your hips are right now in the middle of the mat. You're going to bring one leg over to the left, as wide as what feels comfortable, and then whilst keeping your hips in the mat, so I don't want your hips, your pelvis to move at all. So you've got that left leg outside of the mat. You're going to go ahead and bring your right leg to the side of the mat. Try not to lift your hips. Next, you're going to bring your left arm out, and your right arm's going to grab hold of it. So you're kind of leaning to one side of the mat. So you should feel a stretch in the sides of the stomach. If you want to increase that stretch, bring that right leg on top of the left and cross it over. Want to make sure you've got a stretch in the sides of the stomach, just above the hip. And again, I want you to sink into that stretch. You can always go a little bit wider if you want to, if that stance. I'm going to uncross the top leg. Let's go a little bit wide on the other side. And swapping over arms. Again, just relax and sink in. You might feel this stretch in the sides and the upper thigh. Hold for a few more seconds. Good. Next, we're going to come into the prone position for cobra, or variations of it. So this is one variation, a regression is the Sphinx. So we'll all start off like this. Is quite a hard one to relax into, because especially if you're tight around the pelvis and the lower back. So feel free to just stay here, but I want you to concentrate on allowing, because your core, hip flexors and back might tense up to protect and to stop you from sinking in. So we're just going to work on relaxing that lower back, lower core, and allowing your hips to sink into the mat. Try and relax. Deep breaths, shoulders down away from ears. Elbows should be directly under your shoulders. And with every inhale, fill in the belly and the lungs. On the exhale, relax a little bit further into that position. This is great for the hip flexors, the abs, and the lower back. Try and let go of the tension in your hips. It takes time. A few more seconds, and then we'll do the counter pose, which is child's pose. Keep working to relax your hips into the mat. It's quite difficult. It is an uncomfortable pose if you're not used to it. Your spine's meant to be able to do this. Okay, taking your time, bending at your knees. So I'd come down first, so your face is close to the mat, and then bend your knees as you're coming up into child's pose. I'll recommend knees together for a lower back stretch. Just take your time, because we've been in the opposite position there. Just coming down, making sure everything's okay. Bum on heels if you can, for that lower back stretch. So again, you can hold all the in that yin yoga I was telling you about. There's a lot of these positions that are held for ages, 2 to 7 minutes. So if you ever feel like you want to do something to relax and de-stress, definitely recommend putting beginner's yin yoga on, because it's really relaxing and you're not moving about too much. You're just stretching. It feels amazing. Deep breaths. We'll work on some relaxation pranayama breath work next. Feel free to grab a drink. So take any seated position that you find comfortable. So if you feel comfortable like that, or I'm going to sit in the lotus position. Shoulders down away from ears. Try and untuck your pelvis so you've not got a curve in your back. And you can just rest your palms on top of your thighs. I'm just going to go ahead and close our eyes. So if you want to do the Pilates relaxation breath work, it's in through the nose, count 3, fill in the lungs, and then exhale through the mouth. And you can bring in that pelvic floor as well, because it's harder because you're sitting upright. So feel free to do that. If you want to practice pranayama and yogic breath work, we're going to inhale and exhale through the nose only, because it's nice and warming. So I want you to count, if you're doing the yogic breathing, I want you to count 4 seconds in, 2 seconds hold, and then 4 seconds out. As you're doing this, I want you to be aware of your belly, rising and falling, so you're totally relaxed in the belly. The first thing to move on the inhale should be your belly rises, and then it's your chest, and then your shoulders a little bit. And on the exhale, your chest should be going down along with your belly last. That's the yogic breath work. It's all the way up, all the way down. Any thoughts that are coming into your head, just bring them back to thinking about your breath and how your lungs feel, how the breath feels as it enters and leaves your body. Stay present in this moment. Well done for attending this class and taking some time for you tonight. So easy not to come. Namaste. Thank you very much everyone for coming tonight.